Hi, welcome back to the ELI Online. This is the third lesson in the Pronunciation Overview course, and I'm Phil Bridges, your teacher from the English Language Institute at Missouri State University. You might remember last week we talked about individual sounds and how we could pronounce word stress. This week we'll look a little bit bigger and we will work with sentences. In particular, we're going to study sentence stress, which helps us find the rhythm of English. And we're also going to talk about how we connect different words. Sometimes that's called linking. So get ready for some pronunciation and let's get started. Okay, so first I want to see if you can notice sentence stress. So remember from last week when we talked about word stress, stress means that we pronounce something longer, louder, and very clearly, okay? So I'm going to read the sentence below, and I want you to listen for which words do I stress? Which words do I say longer, louder, and more clearly? And which words do I not stress? So which words do I say quickly or not very clearly? Okay? I will read this sentence 2 times, and then I will tell you what words I'm stressing, okay? So listen with me. Try to decide what words I'm stressing, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. Phil likes to play the guitar, bass, and drums, but he does not know how to play the trumpet. Okay, I'll try it again. Phil likes to play the guitar, bass, and drums, but he does not know how to play the trumpet. Okay, so which words did you hear me stress? All right. In this sentence, I stressed Phil likes play guitar, bass, drums, not, and then really trumpet. Okay, you could say maybe no or maybe play, but these were the main words. So let's read it again. Phil likes to play the guitar, bass, and drums, but he does not know how to play the trumpet. Okay, maybe I stress no a little bit, but these are the main words. All right? So in a few minutes, we'll talk about why. Why don't you practice pronouncing this sentence by yourself too? You can pause the video, try to pronounce it like I pronounced it. Okay? And then we'll move on to another example. Okay, here's another example sentence, and I want you to listen for the sentence stress. Okay, which words do I stress? Which words do I not stress? Okay, here we go. I'll read it 2 times. Dana parked the car under the tall tree and some birds flew above it. Okay, one more time. Dana parked the car under the tall tree and some birds flew above it. Okay, which words did you think I stressed? I would say I stressed Dana, parked, car, tall, tree, birds, flew, and maybe above. Okay. All right, I'll pronounce it one more time. So listen for the stress in these places. Dana parked the car under the tall tree and some birds flew above it. Okay, so now let's talk about why we're stressing these words. Hopefully you can hear the difference. You can hear that the underlined words are a little bit longer, louder, and they're more clear than the words that are not underlined. But let's talk about why. Okay, the first part of pronouncing sentence stress is deciding what words in the sentence will be stressed and what words will be unstressed. So when we talk about stressed words, we talk about maybe the most important word in the sentence. So what information, what word is the most important? You always stress that word. In fact, you stress it even a little bit more than other stressed words. Okay? But the other stressed words are in classes at the ELI, we call them content words. They give you information about the meaning of the sentence. Okay? So things like nouns, verbs, adjectives, or adverbs. These are words that we stress and say clearly because they give the information. Okay? A lot of the time, even if your grammar is not very good, if you clearly say these words, people will understand what you mean. If I say baby cry instead of the baby is crying, you still understand what I mean. So these content words are very important and we stress them clearly. We also stress words that are new information. So if there's a difference between two sentences that are similar, we will stress the new information. For example, if I say, John is coming to the party, Cindy is not coming to the party. I stress that word not because it's new information that's different from the sentence before. Okay? Then there are words that we usually do not stress. Okay? These at the ELI we call function words. They include articles like a, an, and the, prepositions like in or under or on, pronouns like he or she, his, her, conjunctions like and or but or, auxiliary verbs, things like is and am and are, has, have, does, doesn't. We usually don't stress those. And determiners like some or any or other, another, these words are not stressed. Okay, so you'll see these are kind of the grammar words of English. We stress the content words that maybe you would look up in a dictionary because these give sentences their meaning, but the function words that provide the grammar, we do not say as clearly. Okay. And one other thing we don't say clearly is repeated information. So if you're saying the same thing again, you usually don't stress those same words. Okay, you'll say it a little more quickly because it's old information. Okay, so those are the basic rules of what we stress and what we don't stress. So let's look at how we put that together with some examples. Okay. Okay, so sentence stress comes together to make a kind of sentence rhythm. Okay, rhythm is a music word, and it's where the sounds, the notes in music come together in time or in space. Okay, so stressed words, they are spaced in a similar way. They're the same amount of time in between each stressed word. Okay? So this means that you have to quickly say unstressed words to keep the same rhythm. Okay? It also means if you have many stressed words together, you have to slow down to keep rhythm. Okay? So I realize this is a little confusing. Let's use an example to talk about it. Okay? In this sentence, Phil likes to play the guitar, bass, and drums, but he does not know how to play the trumpet. Okay? At the beginning of the sentence, we have two stressed words, then an unstressed, then stressed, unstressed, stressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. Okay? This means I have to slow down because there are many stressed words together. Okay, let's try. Phil likes to play the guitar, bass, and drums. Okay, so each of these stressed words is about the same distance apart. And I have to say the unstressed words quickly to get to the stressed words and keep the timing and the rhythm about the same. Okay, so listen again. Phil likes to play the guitar, bass, and drums. You can clap with me, right? And you can hear the rhythm. Phil likes to play the guitar, bass, and drums. Okay? But then in the next section, we have quite a few unstressed words before we get to our next stress. Okay? So listen to how I pronounce that. Phil likes to play the guitar, bass, and drums, but he does not know how to play the trumpet. Okay? So all this repeated information getting to the stressed word, I say really quickly. All of these function words I say really quickly to get to that important content word. Okay? Phil likes to play the guitar, bass, and drums, but he does not know how to play the trumpet. Okay? So we use stressed and unstressed words to create a kind of rhythm for our language. English has a specific sound to it, and sentence stress is very important for that. Okay? People will listen for what words you're stressing, and if you do not stress the important content words, people will get confused. Okay? So this is very important to practice. It will really help people understand you. Okay, so let's do some practice. We have 4 sentences here, and I would like you to pause the video and look at the sentences, decide what words are stressed, practice pronouncing them, and then we'll talk about it, okay? So pause the video for a minute, pronounce these words, think about the sentence stress, and then play it again, and I will talk about the answer. I'll talk about what words are probably going to be stressed in these sentences. Okay, so take a break, talk about these sentences, and then I'll keep talking when you unpause. Okay, hopefully you paused and you practiced this. So now let's talk about the stressed words. In this first one, Louisa loves to visit the zoo that is near her house. Okay, Louisa loves to visit the zoo that's near her house. Okay, so listen to the rhythm of that. We have some words that we need to slow down on and others that we need to speed up. Okay, Louisa loves to visit the zoo that is near her house. Okay, after we talk about this, you should practice, you should pause again and practice these a little bit more, or practice on your own time. But let's move on. Okay, this next one, you know, if these sentences are continuing, this whole phrase at the beginning we might say really quickly, but I'm going to go ahead and say, let's stress zoo, and then always watches lion, monkeys, bears. Okay, at the zoo, she always watches the lion, monkeys, and bears. Okay, maybe if I'm saying these sentences together, I say zoo really quickly. I would say, like, at the zoo, she always watches the lions, monkeys, and bears. Okay? Or I can stress zoo a little bit more because it's still important. At the zoo, she always watches the lion, monkeys, and bears. Okay? So again, I speed up the words that are not stressed. I slow down when I have many stressed words together, and I try to keep the rhythm of the sentence the same. Let's talk about the next one. Okay, Lynn has been studying at the ELI since August 2016. Okay, so these function words, has been, at, the, since. Okay, these are not as important, so we don't stress them. We just stress the content words. Okay, Lynn has been studying at the ELI since August 2016. All right. And then this last one, it's a little different because it's a question, but we're going to stress no, city, Bob, and born. Okay? Questions have a lot of function words just to make the question grammar, so you often have a lot of words that you don't stress clearly. Okay, so let's try this one. Do you know what city Bob was born in? Do you know what city Bob was born in? Okay, I don't stress no very clearly, but I really hit city Bob born. Okay, so you can pause this again and practice these some more. But it's important to think about which words are the content words that people need to understand your sentence, okay? And you want to say those clearly. Let's move on. Okay, now we're going to change a little bit and we're going to start talking about linking. If you remember from the beginning of the video, linking means that we connect the sound at the end of one word with the sound at the beginning of the next word. Okay? It's very common in English speech. So what I want you to do, I'm going to read the 3 sentences below, and I want you to listen for any time where I'm connecting the final sound of one word with the beginning sound of the next word. Okay? So listen and read along with me and think about where those sounds are connecting, and then we'll talk about it. Okay? First sentence, let's talk about our apartments. Let's talk about our apartments. Okay? Sentence 2, it's so fun noticing. It's so fun noticing. And the third sentence, we keep part of the profit. We keep part of the profit. Okay, where did you hear any linking? Where did you hear connected sounds? The first time is right here on talk about. Okay, I don't say talk about. I connect that K sound with about. So let's talk about. Okay, this one might be a little difficult to hear on the video, but I pronounce the R sound with the beginning of apartments. Our apartments. Our apartments. Okay? So let's talk about our apartments. It has 2 linked sounds. Okay? This next sentence also has 2 linked sounds. I link the S in its with the S in so. It's so. It's so. Okay? I also link the N in fun with the N in noticing. Fun noticing. Okay, so listen for those 2 linked sounds. It's so fun noticing. All right. And then listen to the last sentence. We keep part of the profit. We keep part of the profit. Okay? I link the P at the end of keep with the P at the beginning of part. And I link the T at the end of part with the O at the beginning of. Okay? So we have all of these different linked sounds. Can you notice any patterns? Okay? Can you think of any rules that maybe you see for linking? What do we link and what do we not link? Okay? We'll talk about it in a second. Okay, so the patterns for linking is if a word begins with a vowel, then we link it to the consonant sound before it. Okay? So in that example, we had let's talk about. Okay? And I think I missed it on the slide before this, but about our, okay? And our apartments. So these words start with vowel sounds, about, apartment, our, okay? So we link the consonant sound that comes before it to the vowel. Let's talk about our apartments, okay? So because of this linking, all of these words sort of sound like one really big word. Let's talk about our apartments, okay? So if a word begins with a vowel, look at the word before it. You might need to link it, okay? And then we also link if a word begins with the same sound as the final sound of the word before it. Okay, so for example, we keep part of the profit. We have two P sounds, the last letter, the last sound in keep, and the first sound in part. It can be really difficult to say the same sound twice in a row. So in English, we are usually lazy and we will combine those sounds and just say it once. So we don't say we keep part, we say we keep part. So if you have a double sound, then we'll usually only pronounce it one time. Okay? This can be a lot to remember, but again, if you start to notice it, it can help you with your listening skills, and it can also help you learn the pronunciation and practice it. Okay, so that's linking. Okay, so here's your week 3 pronunciation homework assignment. On the next slide, I will give you 4 quotations. I would like you to choose one quotation, either from those 4, or you can choose your own quotation if you don't like these. And then I would like you to record yourself reading the quotation, and then talk about the quotation for 1 minute or 90 seconds, okay? You can talk about, do you agree with the ideas in the quotation? Why do you agree with it or disagree with it? Or why did you choose the quotation? Anything you want to talk about. Just talk about the quotation that you read, about 1 minute or 90 seconds total. Okay, so here are 4 choices for quotations you can use for your homework. Once again, I will say that you do not have to use one of these 4 quotations, but you can. You can also choose one of your own quotations if you have something you want to use. Okay, so I'm going to read these 4 quotations for you. Listen to the sentence stress and listen for any linking, and then you can practice pronouncing these quotations for your homework or just for fun. Okay, the first one is a quotation by Martin Luther King Jr. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Okay, the next one is by a former president of the United States, Teddy Roosevelt. Keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. Keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. Okay. The next one is by Lao Tzu. When you're content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. When you're content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. And the last one is by a famous author from Missouri named Mark Twain. The 2 most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. The 2 most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. Okay, so you can use one of these quotations for your homework, or you can choose another. I have a few suggestions for the homework. First, when you choose your quotation, you can listen back to what I said or listen to another speaker saying the quotation, but I want you to think about sentence stress. Okay? What sounds like the most important word? Or for you, what's the most important word? Make sure you stress that the most. Okay? Also, listen for content words. Think about what words are content words, nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. Okay? And be sure to stress those and say them clearly. Okay? Don't stress function words or repeated words. Move through them quickly so you can get the rhythm of the sentence correct. Remember, the rhythm goes from content word to content word. Okay? Also, think about linking. Okay? Look at the beginnings and ends of the words and ask yourself if you need to link any of the words in the quotation. And finally, for the rest of what you'll say, it might be a good idea to write out what you'll say and practice. Okay? That will give you some extra practice with sentence stress and with linking and just with pronunciation in general. It doesn't need to be perfect, but if you practice a little, you'll be more prepared and more confident with your speaking. And practice is always good. Okay, good luck on the homework. Okay, this is the end of the third lesson on pronunciation. Next week, we'll talk about intonation in sentences and things called thought groups, which is sort of related to sentence stress. And that will be the end of the course. So have some good practice this week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.